already know what's going on, man. Attitude Era podcast. We back in the building. We did a lot of rebranding. It's been a while since we did videos, but we are here. It's a lot of topics at hand, but we're going to discuss one main topic today that is circling around in the wrestling arena, but definitely this topic inspired the Attitude Era. So, in my opinion anyway, I feel like without this, there would be no Attitude Era. And I know y'all see my two guys here, man. So definitely want to give a warm welcome to two new people that are working with us. That's part of the Attitude Era podcast family. My guy Archie Carter in the building right now. Y'all see him.
Yep.
And then my guy Jerry. Yes, sir. So y'all now that we break these pay-per-views down, these weekly recaps down, or just wrestling history, y'all gonna see us on the screen. Z will be with us too, but I just wanted to give y'all that introduction before we jumped into it. So today's topic is based on the Vice Dark Side of the Ring docu-series they got going on right now, Who Killed WCW. And last night, 2 days ago now, because we passed midnight, they dropped it episode 1.
Yes, sir.
So my first question to y'all before we jump into what the episode was about and recap it, who do y'all think killed WCW?
Booker T said it, and I agree with him in the intro. The man with the checkbook. And a lot of people point fingers at Eric Bischoff. I don't know if I'm gonna feel the same way after we go through this docuseries, but I think I'm rolling with Booker T right now. The man with the money and the checkbook.
How you feel,
Kevin
Derek?
Nash. And Kevin Nash. I always heard Kevin Nash.
It's crazy. It's broad. I'm gonna say the talent, right? Because as things just gonna come out, none of these were new performers. They were all people that started in WCW for the most part, couldn't do nothing, went to WWE now, and then they had their resurgence in WCW, right? But they had crazy loopholes in their contract, whether it was about money or creative control, and they knew what they was doing. They knew it. You know what I'm saying? So to do that and leave it out of the hands, you can just be biased. You can create your own character, essentially. It's not good for the company, especially when you're in competition.
Who you think, DNA? Who you think killed WCW?
So for me, I really think it's I can't disagree with the Booker statement because ultimately, like you said, Jerry's saying the talent, but the talent is not empowered without the guy writing the checkbook, right? So if Eric Bischoff doesn't give Hulk Hogan creative control, you don't have a lot of issues that you foresee happening. So I would have to put the responsibility on Eric Bischoff, but I still feel at the same time it's a catch-22 because when you're in that situation of being the underdog, you're basically it's just like the mentality of everybody here. We went through any adversity. When you're at the bottom and you have nothing, you're doing whatever it takes to get to the top. So it's like if you put all of us in the same situation Eric Bischoff is, what do you not do to try to sign Hulk Hogan? Because if you don't get him, you don't even become competition.
Right.
So that's where it's like tricky because it's like that leverage of you have creative control actually probably is the reason he signs the deal. Because at this point in his career, he's already Hulk Hogan. He's already doing movies. So he actually was on break saying, I don't want to wrestle no more. So what intrigues me to come back? Okay, I get to basically call what happens with my storyline. I never did this before. I got him.
It's like a rapper saying, I want to own my masters. I want creative control. And it's like, for me, we about to get into the episode, but I learned something from the jump that I always heard different. Because when people talk about Eric Bischoff, they always say he was just like a TV dude with no wrestling experience. And I learned in the first few minutes of this, his TV experience and sales experience was in wrestling. So that's something I didn't know from the jump that I always heard different. So I think it's a lot we're going to learn from this series. And it was a lot in episode 1. So
correct.
But you know what I think that kills him? right? And this is what I don't want to say it like this, but if you go to own a Chick-fil-A, you can't just buy a Chick-fil-A, right? They make sure you have over-the-counter register experience. They make sure you have general manager, shift manager experience, XYZ, all the way up. Then they allow you to own, right? That's why most Chick-fil-A's are successful, because every owner of a Chick-fil-A has started from close towards the bottom. Even though he was in sales, right? He never started with talent booking. And that, when you don't understand the creative side of wrestling, you get the numbers, you get like, and we're gonna get into it. He talked about TV numbers, but you don't know how to develop superstars. And that's, I can't wait. But
let's go. You ain't gotta wait. We here.
I mean, but this is why I say it's on the talent, right? There was a lot of people who had a lot of experience in that locker room, a lot of experience, and they took the high road, right? They took the high road. You know what I'm saying? They was out. They was like, yo, I get because they didn't really cover it so far yet. So I don't want to go too far what's going to come, but they're going to get into it, where you had Nash and Hall getting percentages upped based on other people's contracts. So you're always going to be the highest paid, tied to the highest paid. So someone comes in there with a bigger number because whatever they did previous, my contract now go up because whoever the highest paid is, I get paid what they get paid. Don't matter what the output is.
Though. I think you're jumping ahead. We got. That's
what I was saying. That's why. But again,
let's talk about what's in this episode. So yeah, we don't want to jump too far.
Yeah, I mean, in this episode, you really, and this is all things I knew. For me, this episode, it was just, I'm intrigued just about the whole series together. But everything I really knew in this episode already, because I watched a whole bunch of other documentaries and learned from it. But you learn that nobody had experience. Ted Turner didn't have experience with wrestling. It was just something he liked. That's why basically it was just catered to, the Southern audience, basically where he was from, because he was just like, like a multi-millionaire that was just trying to create, different revenues. Okay, I got a baseball team, I got CNN, I got this network, and now I'm gonna do something with wrestling.
And see, even within that, it's like he was catering to that. But when that became this, everybody's learning on the fly. But HP, like you said, you blame the talent, and he didn't have to develop the talent. We speaking about them having creative control. Was there even ever a chance for the talent to be developed when they coming in, or did the talent build themselves?
I mean, this is my thing, right? And we won't go too far because it didn't happen yet, but we already know the end of the story. That's kind of the good part about. I'm saying it's the good part about a documentary. The story already. It's not a movie. To me, I just feel like a lot of things Eric Bischoff did was innovative. And he was a genius. And it's like you only criticize it because at the end it didn't work. But had it been like a couple, things shifted differently, this story ends differently. Like the whole thing of going live, was genius. The whole thing of them doing it at the same time was genius. The whole perspective of we're not going to really give a definitive answer if these guys are still under contract. So at this time, you think 95, 96, now we know things. We'll go on Twitter and IG or Google and know, okay, Lex Luger is really not in contract, or Kevin Nash and Scott Hall not. In 95 and 96, you believe it. Dang, how the hell is Lex Luger over here? And he was just a narcissist last night on WWF. So all of that, Eric Bischoff playing on that was genius. So at the same time, I'm saying that I do feel like he has to take responsibility for it until further notice. I just want to give him his flowers because I feel like he did a lot of things that he actually set the blueprint for the Attitude Era.
Oh, I don't. Okay. Yeah. So this is a conversation. It's gonna be probably in a different podcast, like a different show of this podcast. What started the Attitude Era, right? Because to the victor go the spoils. So we say the Attitude Era. If WCW wins, we'd be saying the NWO era. because they really ushered in like it's 83 weeks straight. They beat the WWF like they're and each week it's over 5 million viewers. Like if you look at the numbers of the Nielsen ratings, they're getting 4 million, 3 million. They're not even really seeing twos anymore. So they really were at a different level of plateau, right? My thing is this though. Bash of the Beach. They didn't know if Hogan was gonna come. They didn't know because Hogan, low key, and I did not know this. He actually pushed that. Like NWO knew they had Hall and Nash. They were talking to Sting. Sting, come on, man, come on, man, come on. You know what I mean? But Hogan was the guy off in Hollywood, like, hey, who your third guy? Low key, because when you watch other stuff, I always thought the third guy was about to be Shawn Michaels. I did. I don't know if anyone else thought it. Shawn Michaels.
I never heard that. I heard it was Sting.
No, correct. But at the flip on the other net, Shawn Michaels asked for his release. Vince, no, absolutely not. Right, and it kind of makes sense because Hall, Nash, Hunter, Shawn, they're all roadmates. Do we get the same WCW? Let's just say hypothetically. If Shawn did go over, if Vince would have granted his release, do we get the same NWO, or is it better with Hogan being the 80s superstar, the American icon?
It had to be Hogan. Hogan had never turned heel.
Yeah,
it had to be Hogan. It could be no.
I mean,
anybody else, it wouldn't have had that effect. Man, they littered the ring with trash. People was crying. It was like the old wrestling days when wrestlers had to get security to get them out the building and people throwing batteries and that type of action. So anybody other than Hogan, this doesn't work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I agree with Archie because it's like it's the biggest 180. We seen Shawn Michaels already be here. We already seen that edge, and due to what he had going on in real life, he was a whole different person. He was an asshole at the time. So we already seen. Right. We already had seen that from Shawn Michaels at that time. He'll even tell you that now. We never seen that from Hogan. This is the guy that's walking around saying, "Take your vitamins, say your prayers, and do all of that." Yeah. So to see him align himself with people that basically are saying they are going to destroy WCW, they're basically intruders. It just seemed like it was a movie. It was literally a movie script. That's why I said Eric Bischoff was a genius, because he literally, that's a plot twist in the movie that you don't expect. Like, what the hell? This guy's really the bad guy. He was really in on it to destroy it. And that to me, that's still that is not only the greatest heel turn, but that is the greatest alter ego, I think, in wrestling. And the reason why I say that is because you got to think at this time period, right? We see it now that we're older because we're dealing with generational gaps. When it's happening with Hogan, I'm 5 years old, 6 years old. So it's no generational gap for me. That's the Hulk Hogan I know. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not born in the 80s. So when I look at that, that's the Hulk Hogan I know. I know I don't like this guy. He's a bad guy. That's the first Hulk Hogan I get to see. As I keep getting older, then I go and say, oh, well, he was this character before. And then I see him turn back into the character later. But that's why I'm like, that character is so impactful. Because for people that were younger like myself, that's the first Hulk Hogan we saw. And that to me, that's better than Red and Yellow.
Oh my gosh. So that's the March. No, not the March, but it's the 1996 Starrcade.
97.
Right? 97? Okay, so it's 97.
Talking about Hogan and Sting, right?
No. When Hogan, no, I'm sorry, I said this whole
thing. Talking about Bash at the Beach.
Bash at the Beach.
96.
Yeah. Right. And at that time, you're right, it is the greatest heel, especially at that time. Maybe we'll do a video for greatest heel turns, but that has to be on everybody's list. I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you number 2 right off the bat, Roman Reigns.
Hey,
Jerry, you can't argue that.
No argument for me.
That heel turn put Roman Reigns in some people's Mount Rushmore. Before that, he was an afterthought. He wasn't even thought about as in a top 10 wrestler of all time.
You're right. You might be right.
Only other person that would have that spot is a turn that we never got, and that would have been Cena.
Yeah. Cena. Because you know what it is, though, right? You got to think, in order for the turn to be impactful, it has to be so far from what the person's character is. So always remember that. Like, it doesn't mean that everybody else didn't have great characters. It's just not a big 180. Literally, Roman Reigns goes from sucker and suffrage to acknowledge me. You see, it's a big contrast to like, this shit is cheesy, get him out of here, to I'm at the edge of my seat every week with him. This is a mafia flick. Same thing with Hogan. It's like it goes from he's damn near Black Adam, if we want to use an analogy now, and then he turns in, you know what I mean? He turns into Hollywood Hogan. It's like the contrast is so far out. That's why those are like my top 2 greatest heel turns.
So the one I put to you, because I think we had the same age range, is Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. I was a little kid, and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's up there."
Yo, yeah, you gotta put that up there.
That's top 5 for me. That's top 5.
So, but Shawn Michaels' career is done, so we get to see how that impacted. Roman Reigns' career is not done, because if he goes on to even do more, we're like,
nah, but
he will.
Yeah, he will. But it was done before he turned heel. That's why I'm like,
people was booing Roman. People didn't want to see Roman.
That's what that Hogan one. That Hogan one is like,
Rock couldn't get Roman over.
So, right. Yeah. Remember, they booed him when he won the Royal Rumble. But that's what I'm saying. Aside from Hogan, that's the biggest.
Yeah.
And it's a different story. It's like Hogan was successful as a face, which even makes it. That's why his is number 1, because he was successful doing both. Roman Reigns is number 2 because he was terrible as a face, but he is one of the greatest heels in wrestling history. So it's like
I'm gonna always deny you on number 2, man. I think we got to get a full panel, because I'm gonna always put that Shawn Michaels one, because again, that launches the greatest career at a time where we don't see blood like that. We don't see, Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, like that's one
of the greatest moments to me. But
but
I don't know about heel turns, because what I'm saying is Shawn Michaels was still over. He's Shawn
and
Michaels.
Also,
but at that time,
he was still over though. At that time, Roman Reigns.
Nah, they had them. They remember the Rockers the little WWE magazine with each little cover had one face and the other face, and he ripped it in half, and it was, what I mean, because this is still the era of bigs.
Yeah,
where you have the Warlord, you have the Barbarian, you still Haku is still hanging around, you still have Hogan lingering, you still like literally
you have one day, me and you and all of us, if we're available, we could sit down and watch these heel turns with our adult eyes. Not our kid nostalgia eyes, and then we could talk about it. But I think you might see it a little differently then.
But I don't think anyone disputes Hogan is number 1.
No, of course not. Nobody's arguing that. If you're a wrestling fan, you understand what that was.
If you're not a wrestling fan, you still even know about.
No. I feel like if you're not a wrestling fan, you understand the impact. But if you're a wrestling fan, you understand like the in and outs of what that, you know what I mean? Like what that really is. But my next question for y'all is, there's another scenario that's talked about in this episode that I want to ask y'all. Do y'all think this partakes into the death of WCW, the finish of Sting versus Hogan at Starrcade in 1997?
Absolutely.
It made no sense. Like, it made like 0 sense. Like, you end the match, then you start the match over. Like, it, I don't know.
This is where I say talent, right? Because in the ring, they had an agreed finish. And there's actually different stories about this, where Sting was talking about, I think, one time in a different area, but neither here nor there. It's clear it's supposed to be a slow count, because Bret comes out saying, no, it's supposed to be a fast count, and Bret's like, you're doing it, but it was not. It's like so clear. Sting doesn't even do a kick out right away. Like, it's very irky.
Was it a miscommunication or was it a Hogan saying, count this the right way so we can't even dispute or argue this?
I think me personally, you'll never get the right story in 2024. Sting's gonna always have his version. Bret will have what he says. Hogan will have, because and I've seen multiple things throughout the years. The thing about it is, when you build something for 50, okay, here's a perfect correlation. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart was building in that same fashion, 15 to 18 months. That's the same time frame as Sting and Hogan. This is like the top, like this is you can't put any more.
But it's crazy though. That finish is bad too.
It's bad. It's shocking. It's revealing.
No, and it only became that way because it was real.
But that's the thing.
In my opinion, like it went over well because this is something really happening. This guy's trying to leave. He doesn't want to give away the belt, so he you know what I mean? They take the belt away from him without him knowing, and then he spits. He's spitting in Vince McMahon's face.
And this is the conversation that gets had behind closed doors. But Bret is really responsible or has a large stake in the Attitude Era. Now, this is the Who Killed WCW, right? Bret's coming over at this time where WCW is on the decline. Oh, you're getting Bret Hart? You should be kind of going like this.
But not 97. They wasn't on the decline.
Don't you have the red and black with the white and black?
That was hot. I feel like
Wolfpack was fire.
That was fire.
But this is not the beginning of the Wolfpack.
No, but it is though. You got to think at 97, right when Starrcade happens, this is when NWO starting the first form with too many members. This is like when the Giant is in there, 6 already came. Sean Waltman, X-Pac. This is when all this happened, and I think Eric Bischoff had joined NWO already too.
Yeah.
So when Bret is going over there, WCW is smoking hot.
No, this is what I say. Because remember, Survivor Series 97 is November.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, to me, I was like, too many stars. WCW has never cultivated talent because they had, before Bret even comes.
You saying this now watching back, or you saying
this? No, I'm saying this then. You got way too many stars.
Nah, I'm not saying that though.
Because I was like, what are you gonna do with Bret Hart? When Bret Hart made his appearance,
they did nothing with Bret Hart.
No, even when Bret Hart showed up.
What I'm saying though, when he does,
right? I was on the edge of my seat. I ain't gonna lie.
So that's what I'm saying. When it happens, it's a good look because it's like when I see that, I'm like, what is WWF about to do? Because Bret Hart is leaving.
Bret Hart is
leaving. I feel like I only say you did nothing with Bret Hart in 1999. Once he's in the NWO, he has the knee brace on. He's fighting Karl Malone. Then I'm like, this shit is garbage.
but even think, he doesn't have a run in 97 in WCW except for maybe at best, because Survivor Series is in November. He goes over in December, or he shows up in 98, give or take.
Yeah.
It's kind of the end. So when we're talking about who killed WCW, like Bret showing up defies the end. The best or one of the best.
I don't feel like it defies the end.
I think your timeline a little off.
Yeah, because
I don't think it was. I remember seeing Bret, because remember, Stone Cold is now over. But
not yet though. Stone Cold ain't over until we really get to the Shawn Michaels and Mike Tyson fight.
When he threw the Intercontinental belt off.
But I'm saying he's over. But the Austin era begins after WrestleMania.
Okay,
because because the Bret Vince Montreal Screwjob, that was like the beginning of the Mr. McMahon character. But the Mr. McMahon character didn't really take life until
but here's the thing
with that very first stunner.
Yeah. No. And this is something I remember. And this is what Bret doesn't get credit for. People talk about HBK and blah 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 blah. Bret Hart literally jump started the Attitude Era, and people don't really give him credit for, with the promo of "This is bullshit, I'm getting screwed." He goes to WrestleMania 13. Even before WrestleMania 13, him with Stone Cold in a match where he wins out of the $1 Million Dream off the turnbuckle, where he like launched back. They go into WrestleMania 13. Ken Shamrock as the ref, which was a face heel turn. It was like a double. Both of them turned.
Yeah, don't know, Jerry. I don't know.
You don't believe it? Oh, okay. Hey.
Right, because for me, right, this is how I'm looking at it. When Bret Hart pulls up, WCW is in great standings. After WrestleMania, when Mike Tyson is the enforcer, that's when shit starts getting shaky for WCW. Then you have then that 98 summer, you have Wolfpack and NWO go at it. They still are. I feel like we don't see the end of WCW, like what's going on, into the top of 99 with the finger poke of doom. The moment that happens, and Hulk Hogan, remember, Kevin Nash breaks Goldberg's streak. Right. And then the next night he fights Hulk Hogan after Hulk Hogan said he left wrestling, and Hulk Hogan pokes him after they had this big turmoil beef that they strung out to why the Wolfpack originated. And then Hulk Hogan pokes him, he falls on the ground, and then they back together. And now they're wearing red and black back together. That's when it becomes confusing. WCW's. That's when I stopped watching.
Bret Hart going to WCW is the equivalent of Kevin Garnett going to Boston.
No way.
That's a bad analogy.
No way.
Kevin Garnett got a ring when he went over there.
That's my point. You're saying WCW is still high. They're still winning, right? But they couldn't keep it going.
What did Bret Hart add all this other stuff to WCW?
Kevin Garnett was also on the downhill, right? He wasn't the Minnesota guy, right? They brought in other superstars, Ray Allen too. They're all just one step below their prime. One step. So you could be deceived in thinking they're still in their prime. No, they're about one step down. They win one.
Bret Hart add to WCW?
No.
I'm asking, what did he add? What did he add?
Exactly nothing.
Okay, so
nothing.
That's a.
But
the initial
he did add.
We're not arguing about the outcome. We know he didn't have a good WCW.
But the initial.
The dialogue that we having is when he went over there, though, that wasn't the end, and it seemed like a good look when he went over there.
It
just didn't pan out.
And in hindsight, that was Kevin Garnett going to Boston. You got a chip because when you went over there, made a lot of noise. Oh, Bret, remember he interfered in the Sting Hogan match. He threw Hogan. Oh, we finally gonna get Hogan versus Bret. No, it all panned out.
But what I'm saying, that wasn't the end though, because in '97 they were still lit. They were still winning the weigh-in draw. They were still winning the weigh-in draw.
It ain't the end, but there's only about 15 pages left in the book. You know what I mean? Like, the author ain't authoring no more. Like, oh snap!
I ain't gonna lie. I don't think that was the I don't think
you're gonna have me rewatching some stuff. I think your timeline a little.
WCW signed by Bret, spitting on Vince.
This is all 97 though.
Vince coming out, Bret School Bret, that launched it didn't launch, but it really helped WCW. It also helped WWF.
What I'm trying to say is ultimately Bret doing what he did at Survivor Series started the Attitude Era. In my book, I don't care about anybody else's timeline. As a viewer at home, that's when the Attitude Era started for me. What I'm saying is the end of WCW didn't transpire when Bret signed with them. They wasn't even nowhere near that because they were still at a pinnacle because everybody was like, what are they going to do with Bret? I feel like 1999 is the down year of WCW. Because midway through 98, that's when they started getting their ass whooped. You gotta remember 98 is Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold with Mike Tyson as the enforcer. 98 is Kane and Undertaker's feud. 98 is The Rock officially turning heel with the Nation of Domination. 98 is Sable and Jacqueline's rivalry. It's Stone Cold and Stone Cold and Undertaker at SummerSlam. This all goes down to 98. And then going into 99, you start teasing the idea of The Rock and Stone Cold. So now when you get to 99, WCW is toasted.
So check this out. I'm gonna prove how my analogy is correct in 15 seconds. Timing.
Go.
Kevin Garnett going to the Boston Celtics. Year one, they win. Right? Year one, they win. Next year, Kevin Garnett was injured.
10 seconds.
He was injured. Third year, they go back to the finals. They play Kobe. And check this out. What happens? So 99, Bret's over there, supposed to be great. That's them going to the finals and not winning. That's them going to the finals and not winning because you have Bret Hart and you can't do nothing with him. Yeah, that's what that is. Because the year one, Bret come over there. You're right. You're winning chips. You're winning chips. By the second and third year, it's the decline.
I still don't know if I'm going with the Kevin.
So you saying Bret Hart killed WCW?
That's what it's
no.
I think we answered the question. We ain't even got to watch the rest of the series.
No, I ain't gonna say Bret killed.
King said Bret Hart killed WCW.
Hey, you know what? I'll get my best. Bret screw Bret. Bret screw Bret. No, I would never say Bret killed them. He had nothing to do with it. They were already on their trajectory, seemingly, because there was money involved. So look, there was contracts.
I got 2 more questions before we get out of here because we don't want to spill too much because we still got 3 more episodes to where we going. That's going to come up to talk. So this is one of the last 2 questions that I got taken from that episode is one, in the course of them doing like, let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like, and I mean, this probably will get blown up even more, but we could just ask it because it's already been shown. Do y'all feel like the NWO storyline should have ended?
How could you have ended it, though?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes. And now that you're saying it, I'm not trying to be funny, right? I'm not trying to be funny. But you brought Bret Hart over. I'm just being honest. That's a good time to kind of end it to start new stuff. You bring it because someone has to end it. There's no one on the roster. You ran roughshod over the roster. Bret Hart, you haven't had any dealings with.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy. Maybe he teams with Goldberg. Maybe you get a new 3-man, 6-man tag. Maybe you get something going. But you got a new. I mean, Bret Hart at that time is as big as they come. 5-time champion.
Whoa.
5-time. No, 5. I mean, coming into your company.
Jerry, pause.
Oh, my bad.
Bret Hart is as big as they. You good. That was crazy.
That was a little bit crazy. But at the time, as a 5-time champion, right?
Get it out.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Hey, this is a safe space. Get it out.
Nah. But we're gonna say what it is. Bret at that time, coming from another company, he has all the run, everything. He sells itself. The story sells itself. Bret starts taking over NWO with a couple, Bill Goldberg, maybe somebody else. Unfortunately, got injured, but that could have been a way you have to end every storyline.
If that's the case, they should have ended it with Booker instead of giving him the title for one night.
No, it should have never got to Booker. Booker should have been a whole new generation of things coming.
But I'm saying if it was going to end, it should have ended with him because he won the title.
Booker got his first world title run off Hogan's BS with Jeff Jarrett.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
That should have been ended.
All right, so you know what? We gonna end it on that note because this all gonna be displayed in the episodes, and then we'll get to cook up with what we see in the episode. So
Bret should have been the guy to end it, though. That's my 98. Bret ends NWO.
Bret Garnett, man.
Hey, you know what your Christmas gift is? The Bret Garnett jersey.
Yeah,
I'm a good
Bret Garnett, man.
Bret Garnett.
Hi, y'all. Well, we here, man. Attitude Era Podcast. Y'all leave in the comments what y'all feel about the first episode of Who Killed WCW. Who do y'all think killed WCW? Comment below, and we'll be back to recap next week's episode when part 2 drops. Good night.
Bret Garnett.